Good morning, this is Vicky.
And this is Jo.
And we're the Two Natural Ladies.
And we talk about the good news we all need and ways of getting the most out of life.
We help people with practical, uplifting ways we can all make a difference.
And we're striving for better, not perfect.
And we love a good laugh. Please enjoy the show. You're with the Two Natural Ladies, and we have a wonderful guest this morning. We've got Carla, who is the founder of Home Share Melbourne, which is a not-for-profit social enterprise run by Home Share Australia and New Zealand Alliance. Carla has worked in homelessness for 15 years in the UK and Australia. Carla has previously run a drug and alcohol program for people experiencing street homelessness and has worked in senior roles within crisis accommodations. Carla's aspiration is to find creative solutions to homelessness, which address not only housing but also other needs such as lack of connection. Oh, I love this, Carla. Carla set up Home Share Melbourne with 3 other women, one of which is your twin sister, I think, in 2018, and the program is now thriving. Welcome, Carla.
Great, thank you for having me.
Oh, I just love all of that. You know, we talk a lot about homelessness and connection. So, and it is your twin sister, isn't it, Jenna?
So Jenna was my very first employee. My first person I recruited was my identical twin sister, which has been very confusing for a lot of people that we support, but totally wonderful for me to have really my life teammate help me with the program.
Oh, look, I'd love to talk about, you know, anything that you got up to as a twin if you're identical, but that's not what we're here for. Tell us about Home Share Melbourne.
So as you mentioned, Home Share Melbourne's a not-for-profit social enterprise. So we don't get any government funding, and we run 2 programs. We use the international model of home share, which was originally used to support people who are older to stay living in their home. So we'd support match an older person with a supportive flatmate. And so that model's been operating now for 40 years with great success. We use that model and we run 2 programs using the model. So firstly, a disability home share program, which is going really well, and also a homelessness home share program. So what we do in the homelessness home share program is we ask community members, generous community members, to open up their homes to somebody who might be at risk of homelessness. And particular focus for us has been young people and people seeking asylum. So we really get to know the community member to understand what their interests are, what type of person they are, and then we match them with someone who's really compatible. So what that does is it builds this really special relationship, which often develops into something that feels much more like family than friendship. And it also gives the person that we're supporting the stability of stable housing and all the things that come with that. So the ability to get back into work, to finish year 11, which has happened a couple of times now, to meet new people and to live with somebody that's got really good structure and routine who can be a mentor to the person that we support.
It's so wonderful. I've had experiences with my 2 eldest with not with homelessness but with drug addiction and just to have somebody, you know, and through that and I was also a youth worker, just seeing people in those situations and just thinking, what can we do to help? And knowing, and you're right, that number one thing is if they've got a stable place to live, they can then start looking at the rest of their lives. And I think it's wonderful. And you know, really, we take our hats off and we do wear hats. To you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, and you're totally right. Like, I think it's so challenging for people that we support because how can they possibly go and find work when they're living on people's sofas and doing the occasional night on the street? Like, you can't get on your feet until you have that stable base.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. So tell us about a match that you've set up.
So we've made 13 matches through the homelessness program so far, and our most recent match was a mum with a baby, which was a very exciting thing for us to do and an absolute first. But I wanted to share a story with you about the very first match that I made with a young person. So I met a young 17-year-old called Sam down at a crisis accommodation in St Kilda. Been in and out of foster care as a child. Really didn't have any stability. Mum and dad in and out of prison. She just didn't have that one stable person in her life. And then compounded by that, she didn't have stable housing. So we matched her with the most amazing woman who took her into her home and became a really good friend and companion to her, which gave her an opportunity to finish her year 11, and since has moved out into her own flat, and they're still friends now. And I think that's the crux of it for me. That's what makes it so special and so amazing, is that a true friendship can emerge, a lifelong connection, and also that it actually does something to truly exit someone from homelessness, which is something that isn't something that I've seen much in the homelessness sector. We tend to see people coming round and round all the time. So for us to actually have our first young person that was supported by the programme to really exit homelessness, get employment and get on her feet and maintain that relationship, I think really says something about what's so amazing about Home Share.
And it actually stops the cycle too, doesn't it? Because otherwise the likelihood, unfortunately would have been that she may have ended up where her parents were, and it's, you've actually stopped it in its tracks, and a new paradigm shift. We've been talking about paradigm shifts, and that's exactly what you've created. I just wonder, what are the criteria for somebody to take on, to open up their house? Do you have to have a certain size house? Do you have to be a certain age? How do you, if somebody's interested in getting involved?
So I guess the key criteria are that there's got to be a spare room.
Yep.
So they've got to have a spare bedroom, and it's got to be a safe environment. So it's got to be a stable environment. There can't be any dogs, that are aggressive dogs or anything that we would consider to be kind of high risk. And it's got to just be a caring and calm environment. But in terms of age, one of the community members who've opened up their home is a woman in her early 30s. We've had a lot of people who are in their kind of early 60s, so I'd say that would be a typical age range when people have retired and they want to give something back. But we're really trying to encourage people of all ages to do this, because it's a life-changing experience for everybody who does it. I think that's what's so amazing about Home Share, is that everybody gains from doing this. It's not a passive charity thing where we're just wanting people to support these poor people who are experiencing homelessness. That's not how we see it. We see it as being something that can be really empowering and rewarding for everyone. So we would love to hear from people in the community of any age and any gender who just feel passionately about doing something really proactive about homelessness. And this is really an opportunity to do something. So opening up your home can really change the life of a young person, but we would expect it would also change the life of the people who offer the room as well.
Wow. And so you've worked in homelessness for 15 years now. So what are the main challenges, and how does Home Share address this?
So people who experience homelessness often have a very wide range of different challenges. So 99% of the time, I'd say the people that I've worked with have experienced trauma as a child, and often they have mental health conditions, drug and alcohol dependencies. They're often very lonely and isolated and disconnected people who commonly will be unemployed. So there's this full range of challenges which are experienced, but that's why early intervention, I think, is so important, because when I've been working with people on the street, they've been unmedicated for a really long time, unsupported for a really long time. They've sometimes forgotten how to even sleep in a bed when they've been sleeping rough for 20 years. So what really excites me about Home Share, and particularly the youth Home Share pilot, which we're promoting at the moment, is that if we intervene really early, like we are with some of the young people that we're supporting, so we intervene when they're 17, we can really reduce the amount of trauma they experience from being on the street, and all of the impacts that it has on their mental health, and the likelihood and the chance that they might start using drugs. So Home Share is clearly not for everyone. So I think that's really important to make really clear, is that typically we're actually not supporting people who are sleeping rough on the street through our Home Share program. it's much more preventative. It's an early intervention type model. Some of the people we support have done a few nights on the street here and there, but typically they'll be couch surfing. And then back to what you were saying about, what is it that we're looking for? What are the criteria for community members? We also have very stringent criteria for the people that we support through our program. So we can't support people who have unmanaged mental health. We can't support people who are actively using drugs. There has to be a degree of stability. And in general, we want them to really be either engaging in something, like engaging in trying to complete year 11, or be very motivated to do that.
And you want to make sure everyone involved is safe.
Yes.
Yeah. Safety is absolutely critical, and
yes.
And I can say hand on heart, we haven't had any real dramas or anything. It's extremely well managed, and really that's why the role of Home Share Melbourne is so important, because we're the ones that are doing reference checks, police checks. We're the ones that are really involved, and we're out having a cup of tea at the house often and making sure everything's running smoothly. So it's certainly not an easy thing to do, but it's a really worthwhile and amazing thing to do when it happens and you get it right.
And what's your favourite tea?
Well, of course, it's an English tea, isn't it? And because I'm from the south, it's got to be super weak and milky.
Oh, there you go. Oh, wow.
We wanted you to talk. We know you're not really promoting the other thing you're doing, because you're very busy there. But we just wanted to hear a little bit about the disability side of things, if that's okay.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So our other program is our Disability Home Share program, which is an NDIS funded program, and much in the same way that we do with our homelessness program. What we do is we support people who have a disability who want to live in a much more creative way in the community. So typically the people we support have intellectual disabilities, but also we do support people with a wide range of other disabilities who think, I don't want to live with my parents. I don't want to live in a group home. I don't want to be a 30-year-old living in an aged care facility. And that they're the kind of current housing options out there. So what Home Share Melbourne does is says, well, why can't we do something much more creative where you can live in a really connected way in the community, in a house that you choose, with a person that you choose to live with. So what we do is we support people if they don't already have housing, which typically they don't. And my twin sister Jenna's really the pro at this. Goes out, uses her homelessness experience and housing experience, goes out, helps them find a house, helps them apply for a rental, advocates really strongly with real estate agents that they will be offered that accommodation, and then matches them with a supportive flatmate who's compatible to them. So again, there's this beautiful friendship that emerges, and a lot of the support that people that with disabilities need is actually informal support. So it's that they just want someone to watch telly with in the evening, or share a meal with, or share a food shop, or somebody who they can have a big debate with in the evening, and have a laugh with. So that's really what Home Share does, and it means that the arrangements that we create feel like real homes. And lots of the people we support have a dog in the house or a cat, so they're able to make choices which aren't available to the majority of people who have disabilities who are living in traditional disability accommodation.
Yeah, and they're also sharing costs as well, financial costs.
So going back to the homelessness, to the young people, which is what you're really trying to get more support with. I'm imagining. Are you working with other organisations? Like there's NDIS that you're working with the disability. Have you got similar things happening with this other enterprise, or is that you're still? Is there anything happening there?
So NDIS makes it really easy for us to cover our costs, which is an absolute luxury, which has helped to kind of really grow the program. Whereas we don't have that luxury within homelessness. So we get a lot of support from people. We have some incredible donors, and a lot of our board give very generous donations to the program, which has really helped to operate the homelessness program. And we also get regular donations from a couple of local foundations. And we have a partnership arrangement in the works with an incredible youth homelessness organisation called Wombat Housing, who are also very creative in the way that they think about addressing homelessness and want to do things differently, which is why we work so well collaboratively together. So Wombat Housing and Home Share Melbourne are joining forces to try and exit 10 young people from homelessness, and we want to exit 5 young people from care arrangements, and we want to exit 5 young people who are just accessing homelessness services and need a safe and connected home.
So what can we do to help? What can the community do? If you had your druthers, if we could give you everything you want, what would that be?
Oh, it'd be so exciting. What we need is, we need lots of things. So we really need people to open up their homes. So that's really the top priority for us. Is we know that it's an extremely generous thing to do, but what we really need is people to say, yes, I've got a spare bedroom and I wouldn't mind seeing a young person living in there. And we need people to offer that room for a maximum of $100 a week, because that's what's affordable for the young people that we support. And we need those rooms to be offered for a minimum of 6 months, because we're really trying to give young people some stability. So that's the biggest thing that we can ask the community for. But on top of that, if people don't have a spare room that's available, but they have a rental property which they would be happy to rent for a below market rent, we could put a home share match into that rental. So that would be another way that the community could help. And the other thing is donations. So we, like I've mentioned, we run the Homelessness Home Share program on an absolute shoestring because of these incredible people donating to the program. We literally can't run it without that. So if people want to give a donation, that would be amazing. And people can either donate to our program directly, which helps us pay our staff to run the program, or otherwise they can donate and they can specify that they want it to be for a specific purpose. So, for example, we're supporting a woman who's seeking asylum at the moment and her small child. So we've been seeking donations to subsidise her rent because she can't, not on income. So they're the full range of different things that people can do to help the program.
Wow. Well, look, again, hats off to you and what you've created, and certainly we will do everything we can to get your name out there. And I do have an idea, which I think Vicky may have already be thinking too. We're part of an organisation, and a group like yours would be something that I know people would be very willing and interested to help. So we'll talk about that off air. And
Amazing.
yeah, look. Thank you for your commitment to humanity.
Thanks for letting me come to talk, and I just love to encourage people to jump on our website. If they're interested, the website is www.homesharemelbourne.org, and you can also find us on Facebook.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yes.
And your song, Rag and Bone Man, Human. Tell us why you picked this.
I just think it's a really powerful song, because I think often it's really easy to think about people who experience homelessness as other, walk past people on the street and think that they're different in some way to us, and that if we can just remember that people who experience homelessness are human just like us, we will have a much more caring and compassionate and connected community if we think in that way.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much, Carla. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Jo and Vicky. Bye.
Thanks, bye.
You've been listening to the Two Natural Ladies podcast. Visit twonaturalladies.com.au for more information. Thanks for joining us.